John was my 9-year-old cat who had been in relatively good health for most of his life. Up to 3 months ago. 3 months ago he started crying, trying to urinate everywhere and furiously and constantly licking his private part. I panicked and gave him the dog's Rumacam I had on hand from Buster's leg hurting in the past. This didn't suffice though, and I called the vet line through my insurance to ask what to do. They told me it's an emergency, and I rushed to the emergency vet with John. Because it was the weekend, a very expensive consultation and a few days back and forth between the usual vets, and out of hours later, he was treated for a urinary blockage, and at that time we didn't know why. But they had to treat his elevated kidney levels from my mistakenly giving him the dog's medication. Giving him fluids and having him catheterised. I eventually brought him home, which he was very happy about at the time. I thought with his supplements and anti-inflammatory that the nightmare was over, but I was wrong. Only a month later it happened again, but I knew what to do this time and did the same thing. You know, I went through the same procedure, although paying this time was a lot more difficult than the first time around. He came home 2 days later. Again, things settled down and I did what the vets told me, fed him the foods they gave me, but it was all in vain. We did some urinary tests over a few weeks, and his most recent test showed signs of improvement, so I could finally see the light at the end of this very, very dark tunnel. We also did a bladder scan, which showed the lining of his bladder was very thick and inflamed. He was prescribed very specific food for his type of urinary crystals following the first test, and the recent one showed the diet was working. He was due for a follow-up scan this week, but it wasn't enough. Yesterday he had a blockage again, the same symptoms, but this time I had run out of money and the capability in coping with the stress and the heartache of seeing him suffering. I had to let him go. Nobody donated to my GoFundMe and I was still at my credit card limit. I was actually over limit. And I'm already in so much debt from his vet bills the previous month, with the same issue coming back 3 times. I thought that was enough. He was old and very tired, and I didn't want him to be in pain anymore. Sorry, I promise I wouldn't cry. I held him as he took his last breath. It was either this or I buy him another month, because I don't know how I could have afforded this visit or the surgery he would have no doubt needed to prevent the blockages happening again. The vet told me that his bladder was too inflamed for that surgery and agreed with me that euthanasia was the right decision.